Welcome back, everybody, to Running the Rift's coverage of... Not Running the Rift. No, yes, Running the Rift. That is what this is called. To Running the Rift's coverage of the NACL Open Qualifiers. We've got Abandoned Kittens versus Reluminate, both at 2-2 in a final decider match to find out who will make it to the top 16. My name's Gordo. I am joined by Quacks once again. So we are going to look to see what Reluminate can put together for themselves here. This is going to be their first match all tournament up against a team lower seeded than them. Meanwhile, the Abandoned Kittens have not been able to get a break. They have exclusively played against teams higher seeded than them, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see sort of if Abandoned Kittens can go for the upset here. And speaking of upsets, Reluminate, first day and second day of the NACLQs has been a completely different story. Their first day, they upset multiple teams that a lot of people didn't expect them to, even beating out Ole Miss, as we mentioned, in their last game. But today have dropped down 0-2, so this really is a do-or-die game for them here. Luckily, I think in terms of seeding, they are feeling a little bit more comfortable in this game than previous ones. So we'll have to see if that has some factor on their mentals to try and just stick it out for this game, continue trying their hardest, and executing this last one to get into the top 16.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams being here in the 2-2 bracket, a little bit of a surprise. You might have expected Abandoned Kittens to end up in Reluminate rather, to end up in 2-2, probably playing against a higher seed had everything gone as expected. Instead, though, I mean, big runs made by a lot of teams in the lower 16 results in Abandoned Kittens actually ending up being the high seed in their 2-2 matchup, or Reluminate being the high seed in their 2-2 matchup. I don't know why I keep mixing up what team I'm talking about. Abandoned Kittens from the 24th seed, making themselves a pretty solid run here, getting themselves some really great upsets along the way. And they find themselves here with an opportunity to actually qualify, which would be absolutely huge for them. Wins over the Sleepy Callers and Gentle Hearts have earned them an opportunity here up against Reluminate. They are going to first pick that Varus. Reluminate now looking at maybe the Ashe Senna, another little double support item bot setup that we got to see from this team already.
Yep, we have seen Reluminate, like you said, Gordo, run this double support setup last game, and they were executing really nicely on it, right? It really was just that last team fight that didn't quite pan out for them that resulted in them being in the 2-2 bracket, but their bot lane really put their foot on the gas, so I am expecting that same pressure to be applied here as Exathy and Kafu have experienced with this kind of comp before. Meanwhile, Abandoned Kittens going for the Jarvan Melio, so much more engage heavy, trying to really be up in the face of these poke champions that Reluminate have drafted for themselves so far. We'll have to wait and see if Reluminate want to try and index more into that poke comp that they have already picked for, or if they want to try and get the Jarvan and the Varus away from them using something that is more peel heavy.
Yeah, this is going to be Low Jazz going for the Jarvan. This is a classic pick for him. This is a player that we've gotten to see in the ACL a whole bunch. This team, kind of the core that used to be Des Moines DMG / single target healing / no AoE damage, depending on what you remember them from, what event they participated in. But this core has been looking to make the breakthrough into top 16 for a while here. Going to try to do it now with their latest bot lane setup in Devin and Phantom Star. Devin, of course, formerly known as WE Hope, still known as WE Hope in solo queue, going to be under new name now as he gets recruited over to Converse University. That'll be a very fun split to check out from him as well. As that Karma lock-in from Reluminate, definitely worth discussing a little bit here, Quacks, as this could very well be a Karma top for Crucial.
Yeah, I mean, this champion can flex all over the place, right? You can put it in the mid lane, you can put it in the top lane. There really isn't a limitation to what position this character can go. I myself have tried Karma Jungle in the past. I wouldn't recommend it, especially now, but I will say it is definitely possible. As we continue moving toward the bans, Reluminate really targeting Playmaker with these bans. Nico and Orianna being taken away. Meanwhile, Abandoned Kittens taking away a decent amount of carry junglers from from Shimmer, as he has been known to really be the rock for this Reluminate squad, as well as a top laner being taken away from Crucial, that Fiora being snatched away, as Reluminate going to pick up the Jax, which is also a flex pick.
Yeah, they have put that in the jungle for Shimmer when they've played it so far in this event. The Gragas Yasuo rotation, though, for Playmaker here and likely for Solidified in the top lane. That is going to be a fun pair of solo laners. It does give you that roaming power. Not having the Gragas in the jungle does weaken the ability to go for the combo a little bit, but in the later game scenarios, that's certainly going to be a very powerful pick tool for them. As Reluminate now likely going to have to take a mid laner here unless they want to flex the Karma to mid to go up against the Yasuo, and they just might. They're checking themselves out on Gnar here. I'm very surprised to see that Gnar, knowing that you could go up against the Yasuo. I mean, nobody really plays Yasuo top these days. It's more likely that it's going to be Yasuo top, Yasuo mid and Gragas top, but if they swap those around, I mean, the Yasuo is supposed to be very good into the Gnar. The ability to delete the boomerang makes a whole big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Abandoned Kittens, you can definitely tell from the comp they've drafted, they really want to play around Playmaker, make him live up to his name. And this is a player you and I, Gordo, had a lot of questions about, right? This guy is relatively new to the scene. Not a lot exists on him in terms of research. So it's really going to be interesting to see how Abandoned Kittens play around this seemingly unknown player and really try to prop him up, make him shine in this all-important game that could either make or break their chances to get into top 16 or get eliminated.
The same is true of Foles as well on the Reluminate side, right? I mean, both of these players going to be in their first OQ here, unless they've renamed and folks have failed to keep track of them. You know, that's always a possibility as well. Neither with crazy high ranks on solo queue, at least on these accounts. They may have other accounts that we are not aware of, but going to be very interesting to see these two relatively unknown mid laners face off against each other in a game that is already going to be very exciting, just given that both of these teams, bottom 16 seeds, not estimated to be able to make it to top 16 at all, not estimated to be able to make it into the group stage. Now, definitely one of them is going to be there. It'll be very interesting to see who is going to be able to take that title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these teams have already come much further than some people predicted they would, and that in itself deserves a lot of recognition. And they're both just so close to the finish line, so they're trying their best to just finish this off as best they can so they can continue to move on. And you can definitely tell they're both playing to their styles. Right, we talk a lot about the liking of Reluminate playing toward their jungle, making sure that he is comfortable, and I feel like this game is certainly no exception. You have two enchanters being able to beef up your frontliners and a decent amount of poke and teamfight potential that also goes into the engage that this Jax likes to go for. My only big concern is there aren't a ton of auto attack heavy champions on Abandoned Kittens who aren't also spellcasters. So I think Jax's evasion isn't going to have nearly as much value as you would like it to have in a game where you pick this champion. But I think nonetheless, if this character is able to get to 2 to 3 items, he has the ability to just run a train over this entire Abandoned Kittens squad.
Absolutely does here. And it would be a very, very exciting showing from Shimmer to round out this open qualifier, to be able to pop off again, come up with another big win, another huge stat line on top of that 16-0 he showed up against Ole Miss earlier on. Being able to put together a couple of big carry games from the jungle, that is certainly going to get your name on the map.
Absolutely.
It would be very cool to see where his career can go from something like that. And of course, this whole squad has been coming together with the interesting drafts, with the non-traditional approaches. They've gotten themselves some big upsets off of it. And, you know, their first win over ISU retroactively, I think, becomes a little bit more impressive, given that ISU have not dropped a game since then. They were able to rally back and get into that 3-1 bracket. They are playing to go 4-1 right now as we speak. So, you know, the Ole Miss is the big focus on the upset that they've been able to put together. But looking back, you should really respect the ISU upset as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has been off of the back of these more, like you said, Gordo, wonky drafts with picks that you usually wouldn't expect to see in games like these, especially not now where, one wrong step, one bad matchup decreases your chance at getting to that top 16. And so I really am curious to see how this Jax jungle is going to pan out. This usually is a more full clear late game oriented kind of pick. You want to get him to 1 to 2 to 3 items. Really, he spikes around that mid game, I would say. And I think that complements the rest of the squad perfectly, right? Getting that Gnar out of the out onto the map, as quickly as possible, making sure that Senna has enough stacks to be able to kite the likes of the Varus and get away from the likes of the Jarvan. And so if everything goes according to plan for Reluminate, they should all converge on their spikes at around the second to third dragon and sweep the game from there. They are very plan oriented, and I think this game is no exception.
Absolutely here. And I do think that that bites in a little bit to what we can see from Abandoned Kittens and where they have a potential to win here. The duo of that Gragas and that Yasuo are going to be so effective in the picks. I do still want to keep in mind, will we see Playmaker Solidified try to do some lane swapping here? I mean, the Yasuo should be pretty good up against either of the two, but thinking back to metas past, right? It's been a long time since they've been played in the same top lane meta. It's been a long time since anybody's played top lane Yasuo, but at the time, I remember this being a big pick for somebody like Darshan when CLG were making their title runs, where he could go for the Yasuo into the Gnar and be so effective at that counter pick. Would be very cool to see a little throwback to that here. But the big win condition for Abandoned Kittens as well can be low jazz on this Jarvan. He is a very aggressive player. He's very comfortable on the Jarvan. He should be comfortable in a kind of competitive setting. He's always playing in Aegis leagues, always playing in Risen leagues. I see this guy all the time during the year playing in some of those leagues. And he is always willing to invade. He is always willing to play aggressive, go for ganks. And if he goes and tries to disrupt Shimmer on this full clear jungler on something a little more powerful early like the Jarvan, that could really throw a wrench into the game plan that Reluminate is going to go for.
Yeah, but I also think that it is worth talking about the Jarvan a little bit before we hop into this game. I think it's worth noting that with the loss of a Gore Drinker, this champion has taken a decent hit since the start of Season 14, has still seen a comfortable amount of play in the competitive scene and in solo queue in general, but I think it's safe to say this character is not nearly as strong, not nearly as tanky, and doesn't have the same amount of sustainability that he did in Season 13. So that is something to keep in mind to hop into this game.
Absolutely. You do wonder if the option to go for something more aggressive like the Lethality Jarvan is in the back of their minds here, especially if they have a successful early game. Some of those items, stuff like the Profane Hydra, can be absolutely crazy in the amount of burst damage it brings to the table. And ever since they gave Jarvan that buff to where his ultimate works in AoE damage, I have just been so waiting for somebody to try to bust this out in a really competitive setting. Gotten to see it a little bit in ACL here and there, but have not yet gotten to see it in a high level of competitive play like the NACL qualifiers. We're going to have to keep our eyes open to see what Low Jazz is going to go for here as we are on to the Rift for our final game of the day, the final game of the Swift stage for both of these teams. One will be moving on. The other will be eliminated here and will be left waiting for OQ2 if they want to try to make a second run at it.
Yep, absolutely. And as we look at the runes and some spells here, something to note is that solidified. I think take the Arcane Comet. There are a lot of different stones that the Gragas top can go. Phase Rush one, Arcane Comet is another, and Grasp the Undying can sometimes be picked up. I think again, you want to try and match the flow of this lane. So going Arcane Comet gives your queue a little extra to it. So wise choice for Solidified here in terms of runes. The rest of the map though is stock standard stuff you would normally find on the champion in their respective positions. But wait, how it ends up going in principle, in practice, rather, when these comps hit the Rift and start whacking each other over and over.
We'll have to find it out here. It's going to be topside focus. A little bit of wards thrown down on both sides. Kafu and Exathy going to throw some skills over the wall there. They end up losing out on their first ward. And will get picked up by Phantom Star. Not going to make too big of a difference, but will deny some of that early vision wherever possible. Is Crucill looking for an early invade here. Not going to be able to really deny anything, but at least looking to be disruptive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that comes with the terrain changes. Just in general, it feels like top laners, especially on the red side, have easier access to that blue buff and just being able to be a nuisance to the jungler starting on that top side. So Crucial, yeah, he takes full effect of that, and now you know exactly where the Jarvan is starting, and you can make your game plan from there.
Absolutely. So we'll have to see how Shimmer is going to be able to navigate here. He's going to get spotted when he gets to his birds anyways, because that early ward was thrown down by the side of the abandoned kittens, so they're going to see him. They're going to know where he is. I expect to see a ping coming through here before too long. And it's just going to mean both junglers are pretty face up with where they are. Going to be harder to make any kind of big early aggressive moves happen. Push, though, achieved by the Ashe Senna lane. Got that double range set up and are going to look to just clear that wave as fast as they can. And I am very likely expecting to see a double support item set up coming through from them as well.
Yup, on the first reset is usually when you see that double support item come through. But I'm sorry, Gordo, did you just call them birds?
Yeah, they're birds. They're the raptors.
They're chickens.
Sure. But birds is less syllables.
Yeah, but chicken sounds a lot funnier.
That's true. That's fair. Understandable. We can go for whatever we want to call it here. Crucill's going to transform. Crucill's going to look to crash this wave here before too long. And, yeah, pretty calm early game all in all, and that's not too big of a surprise given how the drafts have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that the wave is sort of bouncing back into the bot lane. This gives Devin and Phantom Star the opportunity to go for a reset as both junglers are on this bot side of the map. I think that Low Jazz knows he has the priority for this crab, so he is just going to try and be a nuisance to Shimmer for a little bit. Jax is looped around.
Yeah, looking for a little something to be found here for Shimmer, but looks like he's just going to channel that recall. Stops it. Will get spotted by Phantom Star off the back of that ward placed down by Low Jazz, but Shimmer's just going to dive in anyway. Looking to lock down Phantom here. There's going to be a 3-on-3 with Playmaker being the first one on the move from mid lane. They're going to have to retreat back underneath the turret. Piercing arrow takes Shimmer incredibly low, and that might just
going
be
up.
where the play ends. Is there any opportunity here for Playmaker? No knockup's going to be coming on through. Doesn't have the ultimate anyway. It's too early in the game. Phantom going to get harassed back away by Kafu, and no more fight to be had.
Yup, the Playmaker potentially looking for a dive there, but good hold by Kafu and Exathy to just make sure that doesn't crash. Otherwise, a dive was very possible for the blue squad. But for the most part, just a stock standard game like we said, Gordo. Double root, though.
Very nice stuff there with that last embrace, but Exathy's too low on HP. He has to flash the piercing arrow. Good awareness to know that you're going to die if that hits you, but still rough to have to blow that summoner spell.
Yeah, that's no summoners for an Ashe now against a Jarvan who is looking at that and thinking, oh boy, here is my dinner. I would expect this Jarvan to just continue pathing down, try and maybe look for a dive, depending on how the minion state ends up in about 1 to 2 minutes here. But crucially now, the Void Grubs have spawned, so we'll have to see if both teams are thinking of really prioritizing that neutral.
Definitely here. Crucill grabbing themselves that that farming item there on the recall. Going to be looking to stack that one up. They're going to look to just play this lane very safely up against the Gragas. It's looking like might be the inversion of what we saw in Reluminate last game. They might be really much more focused around bot lane on both sides this time around, as top is kind of just finding itself at a stalemate. The second support item did get picked up by Exathy off the back of that second recall, like you predicted, Quacks. And now they're going to start sharing those between the two of them to try to build themselves up an early gold lead.
Yep, exactly. This is what they did around the last game, like we said in the draft, just trying to play for that sort of more weak side, less gold income style that really allows Shimmer and the solo laners to shine a lot more. And yeah, they're just going to continue doing that for this game as well. Crucial in the Mega Gnar just kind of zoning off Solidified from the wave. Maybe going in, though.
Ooh, forcing the flash there with the big wallop. Nicely played as the rest of Solidified's team have successfully secured themselves the Void Grubs. Low Jazz should be able to claim all 3 of these. There they go. That will give them that extra damage. Shimmer taking advantage of the opportunity to steal away some of the chickens or birds or whatever you want to call them, as they are going to move themselves down towards Dragon and might be able to secure this as well.
Yeah, I mean, they are on a timer. You can see that Low Jazz is still on that top side of the map, but actually just not going to go for it. Shimmer is just going to return to farming his camps, trying to get to that spike as soon as possible. Doesn't want to go for any risky plays, especially now as we pan toward the bot side. The wave is pushing in, so the Dragon would have been a risky take anyway.
Would have been risky for certain. So they are going to keep clearing out these waves, finding the push for the side of Devin and Phantom Star. So powerful in the early game with this Melio. We get that additional range and also that poke that Varus brings to the table. He's just so powerful in so many situations. So flexible in build as well. Looking like this is going to be another example of that on-hit Varus this game, given the lethal tempo and the early recurve bow. And they're going to migrate on up to secure themselves the first Dragon. So Shimmer not able to find an angle to take it while the Grubs were taken. He only gets the birds for it, and that's going to be both objectives across the map going on over towards Abandoned Kittens as they push off Exithy and Kafu. They land
they got him.
That ultimate. Exithy going to go solo to the piercing arrow. One more shot would do it from Devin, but he can't get it off. They will be able to keep Exithy alive, but they are forced completely out of the bottom lane.
Yup, Exithy really being taken advantage of with no summoner spells on this Ashe. And really good awareness there from Devin and Phantom Star, recognizing no summoners, but also recognizing power spikes, right? You have the ultimate here from Varus. You know you can go aggressive, and aggressive they did go. And even though they didn't get the kill, they now force Exithy and Kafu to basically miss about a wave, maybe a wave and a half, depending on when this pushes in.
Yeah, double support items will do a little bit to make you feel less bad about that. At least you're getting more GP10, but there's an engage from Shimmer, not able to secure themselves the blue buff. Gotta be the flash forced out of Low Jazz. Wise to notice that the Karma was collapsing on you and you needed to create that distance. Means that the Spirit Fire will not connect, but Solidified falling so low. They are calling multiple members here for Reluminate. Great ultimate to deny Shimmer the jump in, but it might just be too little and it might just be too late. Crucial gonna pick up first blood as they look to retreat away.
Shimmer also didn't get an assist during that entire thing, so no gold going over to the Jax, the crucial member that this squad, Reluminate, wants to get ahead. Start for a little bit of gold at this point. This is kind of the point where you want to start giving this Jax a few amps up in terms of gold, trying to get him to that first item as soon as possible. But yeah, really good deny there from Solidified, and even though he died, it's a good death, if you will.
Yeah, for sure here. Did get 3 members up on top of him. A really great explosive cast to deny Shimmer the jump in. But he does end up going down. They do end up losing that plate, and now Crucial, looking for that Trinity Force, will be on that spike a little bit sooner with the addition of the first Blood Gold. Holding on to TP as well. Certainly wants to recall and grab that as soon as they get the opportunity, as they are now winning up on this top side.
Yep, absolutely. And with the Void Grubs spawning, I think that this really puts an emphasis on Abandoned Kittens trying to get these next 6, because like you said, they're winning up in the top side. In order to get some of that gold back, you have to try and get objectives, and Grubs can really help with trying to get those plates if you can sort of micromanage the waves in top lane correctly and try and get Solidified more comfortable in this game once turrets break open.
Absolutely here. He is an enabler for the Yasuo, if nothing else. And Playmaker has been doing a solid job in mid lane. I mean, it's really hard to force the Karma out of lane, and he has not really gotten to do that, but he has built himself up a pretty nice CS lead, so he'll be plenty happy with that one and should be well on pace to be able to secure what he needs. There's going to be the ultimate once again. Chains of Corruption lands on Exithy. Exithy has to flash away, but will go down to the piercing arrow this time. Going to be a kill picked up for Devin. Equalize across the map, but Shimmer has found Phantom Star. Phantom Star trying to retreat back away, but he's on the wrong side of the map. Will be able to get around back over towards the rest of the squad. And now here comes Solidified, going to be able to set up for that last embrace. Dive on away. Crucial trying to tank it all up as the Mininar will be able to escape in time, but the damage has not come through. Reluminate cannot find any kills. The Abandoned Kittens not going to get any for themselves either, and they will be backing away from one another.
Good pick there by Devin and Phantom Star. Not only do they get the pick onto the Ash, but they also burned both summoners. Exithy back to having nothing in the wake of defense. So continuously having to play under the tower, play safe, make sure that these picks cannot become a reality for the bot side of the Abandoned Kitten squad. And yeah, getting this Varus ahead, now having the Kraken Slayer, it's opening up a decent amount of doorways for the Abandoned Kittens to play for as this game progresses.
Opening up a lot of doorways for sure. They keep up that pressure in the bottom lane. Now have that Kraken Slayer on towards Devin. They are getting ready to try to move on towards these Void Grubs. These would be the ones that can get them on to 5 and 6. They secure 4, and they are going to be rocking those Void Mites before too long. Shimmer's coming in for the collapse, though. They can't afford to give up too much here. They are going to get the engage there on towards Shimmer, looking to melt down the jungler first and foremost. Double knockup found by Playmaker. Follow up from Solidify, but Solidified's the first one down. They can't work their way through the Jax. Grandmaster's might keeps them strong. They get themselves 2 for 0.
Really good ultimate there by Crucial. Not only that, but he made his presence known in the middle of the entire team. They could not ignore the top laner for Reluminate. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it is Reluminate who come out on top, managed to pick themselves up 1 Void Grub as a sort of victory prize for their team fight efforts. But that is still 5 Void Grubs going the way of Abandoned Kitten, so that push power is still available for them.
Yeah, that is the one thing that didn't go perfectly about that play for Reluminate. If they had gotten in to deny the 5th grub and make it 4 to 2, oh, that would be so worth. The 1 grub differential, not that big of a difference, doesn't give you the Void Mites, and they would still get the multi-kill for it. But now Kafu getting caught in rotation. Waiting for him was Low Jazz, who will force out the flash.
Yeah, good flash there from Kafu, but good recognition there from Low Jazz to also go for that play, try and go deep with the ultimate in tow. And now they might be just looking for a dive onto Exithy. Has the Ghost back up available, but no teammates are here. But the TP is coming through.
Coming on in, they are going to be able to lock him down with those Chains of Corruption, but don't have anybody tank up the tower, so Exithy will be able to stay relatively healthy.
Yep, Exithy managing to fight another day. Good TP there from Foles. Herald has also now just spawned along with the Dragons, so we could potentially see a trade of neutrals here, depending on how both teams want to play it. But Crucial is so tanky, just really bullying out this Gragas.
Absolutely going to have that cull done pretty soon as well. So should be able to take up this turret on another wave or two. Doing very, very well with that Trinity Force already completed. Has gotten the majority of the gold from those kills. And just building up a bigger and bigger lead cross map. You could look, Reluminate's already up 3k gold. They're getting to play their game plan according to their strategy, and it is working out beautifully for them. Even though the bot lane have been the victims of dives, even though they've gotten bullied quite a bit, the double support item guarantees that they're still doing pretty well in income. If I swap on over here to the gold view, we can see, yeah, I mean, it's only about a 400 gold lead for Devin. That's not enough to make up for everything that's gone wrong topside.
Yeah, especially with how easy it's going to be later on in this game for the top side of Reluminate to access that backside, right? I definitely think Devin is going to have to play these team fights really cautiously, as with Shimmer and Crucial just both being fed on Reluminate, it is going to pose threats for the backline of Abandoned Kittens as they go for this turret and manage to trade it back.
And those are the plays that Low Jazz can walk around the map and make right now. They're still the stronger bot lane. They have the addition of the Void Mites as well. So with 5 stacks, they get themselves 3 Void Mites with 3 people in front of the turret. Makes it pretty easy to be able to take that one. It was not the first turret gold, though. Crucial was able to get that first, so just more and more of a gold lead being mounted by Reluminate here. His Playmaker might be up too far, going to get the knockup onto Shimmer, but that's just going to delay him being able to jump down and lock you down. That is another kill going over to Shimmer.
Yeah, Playmaker, no flash, no defensive tools up whatsoever, but they're looking to go back for it.
Yeah, pulling Foles way out of position, but he still has access to the flash. Will be able to get away. Now plenty of damage coming through onto Devin, but Shimmer might be up too far. Locked inside of the Cataclysm. Shutdown picked up for Devin.
Yup, and Devin 2-0 now on this Varus pick is looking to be the carry for Abandoned Kittens. The last hope for their last game here to try and make the top 16 rests in the hands of this Varus. Now the only question is, can they make good on protecting this carry and finishing out this game?
What's funny here is you do have to wonder, do the Abandoned Kittens even realize how far behind they are in gold? Because it doesn't feel that bad from this kind of position, right? It's only 2-4. No. You're tied up in towers. You got all the grubs. The grubs themselves give some gold as well. And you're tied up in dragons as well. You're not really noticing the invisible advantage that the double support items have built up. You probably are somewhat aware of the CS advantage, but it's you might not realize that you're actually 3K plus gold behind, which is a pretty substantial lead.
Yeah, I mean, you're 3K gold behind, and you can look at the gold differences in top lane, but then look at the gold differences in bot lane too, right? That practically equalizes out the deficits for both lanes, making it basically even. So yeah, it really does come down to the efficiency of these support items and the gold they have been able to accumulate for the Reluminate squad. But it doesn't feel like Reluminate has been able to really tap into that gold lead yet. It doesn't really feel like they have made plays thinking like they do have a gold lead. So I think the better question is, does Reluminate know that they have a gold lead, or is it Abandoned Kittens not realizing that they're behind in gold?
That's the question, right? You know, maybe they're just all aware of it, and this is just the way you play it out, but I would think that having chosen to draft this strategy and having played double support items so often, they're well aware that, hey, you know, it looks like it's even, but that means we're ahead because it's double support items. This is going to be an engage found by Playmaker. Full's getting chunked out pretty low here at Blade of the Ruin King, giving him a little bit extra oomph. Dive in. Shimmer looking for the fight, but gets locked down and blown up. Way too aggressive there as Hope lands the Chains of Corruption and finishes him off.
Yeah, great ult there from Devin, and they managed to just lock down the carry of Reluminate. This is the player that has gotten them and netted them so many wins, but is just struggling in these past few moments on this Jax pick. But now Crucial's caught out.
Yeah, Lojaz looking for this play. Does not really have the backup of the rest of the team, though, and he is looking to keep this one going. Phantom looking for a knockup, not going to be able to find it. Now it's a Mega Gnar. Crucial wants to keep this fight alive, but he might be in too deep. He's locked down. He is last breath, and he will have to jump out. Playmaker's not done yet, though. Playmaker diving in, trying to make the plays. Will get taken out, though. Does not have the backup of the rest of his team, and now Exithy with the slows raining through off the volleys for the rest of the team. Mano-y-mano up against Devin on the side. Devin gets locked down, but Exithy gets thrown back in, solidified. Makes the pick as Kafu moves forward now. 4 members strong once again with the return of Shimmer, but they cannot get on towards another target. It will be a successful disengage for the Abandoned Kittens.
Little bit of an over engage there from the Playmaker. He was really feeling himself on that play, but ultimately no one was around to try and back him up. Luckily Solidified managed to Bomba Exithy and equalize the 1-to-1 trade. But now a Dragon and a Turret are going to go the way of Reluminate, taking full advantage of that over-aggression from Playmaker.
Yeah, Chemtech Dragon secured, outer turret mid lane secured. So Reluminate do end up being the ones who get to kind of reap the rewards of the fight, even though the kill count ends up favoring Abandoned Kittens. Reluminate get themselves quite a bit across the map. Oh. Now the Dragon, or the Baron rather, getting started off very early. The Territorial Baron going to be tough to get on into here. They've already got it at half HP. Shimmer now aware that this is going on. He can get into the pit and look for a steal, dodging out on the Tornado. Here comes that enchanted Crystal Arrow, dive over the wall, but the beautiful explosive cast stops them from getting it. A huge Gnar in the pit, though, from Crucial to keep the fight going. They've already gotten out of the carry, and they're looking to see just how far they can take it. 3 kills already going over to Reluminate. Grag is stuck on the wrong side of the map. Will be able to complete the recall, but Reluminate, they lose the Baron. They get themselves 3 kills back. What else can they turn it into?
Yeah, and I mean, you can see 3 members pushing down mid. Crucial on the side lane. They are looking to take at least 2 turrets in this exchange and making the best of the picks that they got. Sure, they don't have Baron buff, but they have 5 members strong.
Very, very great fighting there from Reluminate. A huge ultimate from Crucill to make that loss of Baron practically worth it. 3 kills, takes off 3 buffs, and still able to find the follow-up play afterwards. They get themselves the inner turret in mid, and they have now built up their gold lead to nearly 4K as they can just keep on with the dragon stacking plan. One of the Barons is on Phantom, the other is on Solidified. These are not those side laning threats that can get the most out of the Baron, but now here's a potential pick onto Crucill. He has lost the Mega Gnar, flashes away from the explosive cask though, and there's no follow-up left.
Yeah, but I mean, they've committed a bunch of members to this top side, so this could be the opportunity for Abandoned Kittens to get a tower. They see the members of Reluminate in the bot lane. They know that turret is gone. The best they can do is try to trade it, but Crucill is going into Mega Gnar here soon, has the ultimate available.
Does go Mega, the follow-up from Solidified. He might not want this, though. He's getting gnarred into the wall, and Kafu's there for the backup damage, but here comes Low Jazz to try to create some space. He gets chunked out immediately. The bot lane is here for the backup. There's going to be the damage coming through from Foles, but he just gets blown up by the 4-member squad of the Abandoned Kittens. Playmaker looking for the flank on the side. Exithy is still in bottom lane, so this is a 5 versus 3 on the top, and they are going to claim themselves every tower that they see. Abandoned Kittens finish off the top side inner.
Yup, they managed to get 2 turrets as a return, and you can see the TP coming out from Crucill. They do not want to let this go. They want to trade something back, but they're walking into enemy territory, into the heart of Abandoned Kittens. And yeah, it doesn't look like they are going to be able to do anything off of that.
Foles just a little bit too far up there. By the way, Foles now has a support item of his own.
Arden.
They are going 3... No, I mean the gold generating one. He's got the map.
Oh my god. Oh man. Well, you know what's better than 2 support items, Gordo? 3 support items.
These guys are nuts, man. They are fully support item pilled. I don't even know what this thing is called. Expedition map? Something like that?
Something like that. I don't play support, you know. I don't delve into business going down in the bot lane. I'm a filthy, lowly diamond jungler.
Yeah. World Atlas. World Atlas is what it's called. So there we go. Well, he's got himself a World Atlas. He's learning about his travels. And he's generating more gold for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to, for the cause that Reluminate are really indexing to in this game. They have so many World Atlases, it makes me wonder, do they even need, like... I mean, Ezreal's voice line is, who needs a map? But apparently Reluminate does. 3 of them, to be precise.
Quite a few maps built up here. Crucill going Mega, though. Very dangerous if he can find an engage. He doesn't have access to the flash. Will be tough to fight. They do get themselves a target, though. Way too far up. Low Jazz gets caught out, but the full combo with the last breath will net them 2 right back. Make it 3 as Crucill is melted down as well. Foles and Kafu have got a full send it in the other direction in a 2-for-3 trade. Make it a 1-for-3 trade. Abandoned Kittens win out on the fight once again.
Yeah, Abandoned Kittens, a huge explosive cast followed by a huge last breath. This is the combo that Abandoned Kittens have been trying to get off the entire game, and it came at the most pivotal time. The dragon is spawning, the denial of soul point for Reluminate. They get a tower as well, and Abandoned Kittens are striking back in this game.
For all their creativity, for all of their world atlases, Reluminate are no match to the full Bomba combo. Explosive cask onto 3, into last breath onto 3. Playmaker and Solidified combine together to crush the fight, get themselves their second dragon, and collapse quite a bit of the gold lead.
Yup, for sure. And now with the Baron spawning in about a minute here, it's going to be up to Reluminate to try and push these waves out. You can see Foles on the top side there trying to get as much CS and pressure on that side of the map as possible before this objective spawns. But Abandoned Kittens, they're sitting good right now. They already have their ults back up. Such a low cooldown on that explosive cask and last breath. They're ready to fight again. No breaks.
Absolutely. The spikes are still coming as well. And will be waiting on a 3rd support item. Like we said, 2 blood songs already built up for these 2 marksmen. Those Frozen Hearts so gold efficient as well. The Jax is going to keep getting stronger. The Ashe is going to keep getting stronger. There's so much pick potential, so much team fight power as well. They've got to be more mindful of this Gragas Yasuo combo, though. You cannot be getting 3+ members caught in that, or it will cost you big time, as Crucill might be found by Playmaker here. Gonna try to walk it out, and will be able to.
I do. It wasn't even necessary for Playmaker to do, but I like the little fadeaway flex on the wind wall where he just blocked the returning boomerang. You don't need to do that. The returning boomerang does like 20 damage, but you know, it looks cool, and at the end of the day, I think that's ultimately what matters.
Yep, absolutely. Does actually, I think it does more damage coming back than going out. At least it used to. I don't know if it still does. I don't know why it's like that. It's very funny.
Crucial, maybe looking for something.
Looking around, might find himself a big Mega Gnar. Not going to happen that time, and now he's once again tired. Not going to be Mega Gnar for a little bit. This is the timers that Abandoned Kittens want to play for if they can. Finding the opportunities where Crucill cannot transform.
Yep. And now we can see that we have Devin 3 items on the Varus Terminus. Is complete, so we'll be doing a lot of mixed damage and getting some of those defensive stats that Terminus also provides with you. That is probably one of the most weird items that the preseason added, but it is pretty cool in concept.
They are going to land a Shaded Crystal Arrow. An attempted flank from Solidified as he TP'd into the jungle earlier on. Now just going to end up kind of playing this front to back, regrouping with the rest of the squad. 5 members strong now are the Abandoned Kittens as Crucill. He's Mega Gnar. He gets the 5-man shove as they advance forward, working onto Lojaz first. Crucill gets locked inside of the Cataclysm, and the win for Devin in the one-on-one with Exity makes so much of a difference. Shimmer chunked lower and lower on the side. It's a 2 for 2 so far, but the health bars are favoring the Abandoned Kittens. Shimmer is pushed back. He rejoins with the surviving members of Reluminate, and peeling towards the Baron is the Abandoned Kittens.
Yeah, but they only have 3 members, so I don't think they're going to be able to go for this neutral objective. Luckily for them, though, they do have 3 members alive. They, overall, I would say, did a really good job at getting away from Crucill. That was an absolutely gigantic Gnar ultimate, and they did, I would say they played it the best that they possibly could have. A few sloppy targeting errors here and there, but overall, Abandoned Kittens still very much in control of this game, despite the gold lead.
Definitely here. It's with the Terminus now completed for Devin. We saw that AD one-on-one ended up making a big difference in that fight. Devin just out-damaging Exity straight up. Takes him down in the one-on-one and is then able to carry over forward for the rest of the fight. They are going to need to be able to find a way to get on towards this on-hit Varus. He's just so powerful, and now with the Frozen Heart done as well, he's got tankiness to boot.
Yep, and it looks like they're going to be starting up the Baron. Shimmer just now leaving the base, so they'll chunk this out before any real threat gets to them. Oh. Or actually, they'll just drop it. They saw the TP from Crucill.
Yep, TP down, Mega Gnar down as well. This would have been a massive flank with the Mega Gnar coming on through. Playmaker looking for a play, gonna get himself knocked up though, gonna get locked down by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Feeling himself too much, Playmaker caught out. Crucill might find himself much the same though, as he's gotta play this a little bit slower. Slowing down Solidified as Shimmer advances forward, looking for the Counter-Strike stun. Will not be able to get onto anybody as the remaining 5 members of Reluminate with a numbers advantage backing up towards the Baron themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time that Playmaker has gone for a pick or gone for a play that has ended up getting him killed. But now the real punish is this is when Baron is up. This is when a dragon that gives soul to both teams is up. This is the worst time to get picked off.
Here's going to be the advance forward. Crucill about to go Mega, getting chunked out very low. Shimmer dives in, looking for the stun. Dive away from Lojaz to try to get the knock-up onto somebody. Shimmer going to be pushed back again by the Ultra Mega Fire Kick. Teleport in from Playmaker. It's now a 5-on-5. Both squads at full strength, low health bars on top laners exclusively. And the healing still coming out through from this Senna might be allowing them to re-solidify for Reluminate, as Solidified is just getting chased further and further away.
Yeah, I mean, Shimmer is chasing down to this Gragas, but this is a key member that you want for this team fight. You're trying to box this squad in more and more, but doing it without the Jax is not a good idea.
Stuck on the wrong side, dive back through for Lojaz. He's getting locked down first off. He's going to get the Cataclysm onto multiple members. Look at that damage onto Exity. Exity just melts so damn fast. A triple kill over to Devin as they march forward into the base, and this could be it for the Swiss stage for ReluminateGG. 3. They have only got 2 members left trying to defend the Nexus against a 4-man squad of Abandoned Kittens.
Abandoned Kittens, they were put in such a low seed, they were doubted and discounted, and they came all the way up here through teams that were supposed to make it, through upsets, and now it is them who will make it to the top 16 as the Nexus falls and is destroyed.
A massive run for the Abandoned Kittens from the 24th seed. They will qualify for the group stage of the NACL qualifier. Reluminate, upset on seeding, will be taken down in a banger 31-minute game, kept close until the last minutes, but it is Devin who comes up huge in the fights and is able to carry his team through to victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Devin on the Varus, coming up completely clutch in this all-important game. And I also want to highlight a little bit for LoJazz too. That final Cataclysm and also that proc onto the Titanic Hydra kept him alive for way longer than anyone would anticipate for him to be there for. And that ultimately, I think that pressure on the Jarvan is what netted the team that all-important last team fight win. But yeah, it was for sure Mr. Hope 1 who came up clutch with the damage and delivered.
Excellent play there from the Abandoned Kittens. A heartbreaker here for the side on the red here. Reluminate not able to put themselves together. One more win after a 2-0 start yesterday. They will be bowing out at 2-3. We'll have a lot to think about for the next few weeks as they wait for OQ number 2 and decide if they want to stay as 5, what they want to change. But going to be very disappointing for that team. They fought hard. They've had a couple of very, very close games today and just not quite coming up with the result that they were hoping for. We'll be wishing them best of luck into the future. But also looking for best of luck for the Abandoned Kittens as they get their opportunity up against some of the best talent outside of the NACL.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and especially for Playmaker here, this is his first Combine, so to be able to make it into the top 16, that has to give you quite a rush as a player. So really looking forward to seeing more of him. I definitely think he's got more gas in the tank and more to show as the OQs continue. So I'm excited to see what the Abandoned Kittens have in store for everyone in the OQs as the games and weeks continue to go on.
Absolutely, but that'll do it for the Swiss stage here. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in to Run of the Rift throughout the run here. We will see you all next Open Qualifier. Hopefully that one will be live.
Bye-bye.